So he was cheating on me. I was 8 months pregnant. We were hiding in the bushes, me and my girlfriend, that is. We were actually waiting to see because I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that he could do this to me. I was 8 months pregnant with his second child, not the first, and 19 years old. And we had been through quite a bit already at this point. I was just waiting. We were hiding in the shadows, and I was waiting for him. Waiting for what? Hoping. I was hoping that he wouldn't show. Hoping that it wasn't true. Hoping that maybe this time it was going to be different. Little did I know that this was going to be one of the worst times yet. I stood there, waiting. It was cold. The baby wrestled in my belly. She knew that we weren't in our comfy bed, and he came. I saw him come over and out of the shadow. He was stepping surely because he knew where he was going. This wasn't his first time. He went right into her arms, and I could feel and see the fullness of that hug that they gave each other as she stood in the doorway. It was hard to not notice their attraction. My heart sunk into the deepest of despair. I couldn't help myself. I rushed up to the door. I wasn't a woman yet. I was simply playing one on TV. And the drama that we were playing out was a sad and sick one. I was just not in a good space. He was caught off guard. Like, I'll give him that. He was caught off guard, but he was quick. One thing you could say about my community man, he was quick. He turned on the charm, and he caught himself. Only in that first moment did you see that he wasn't sure. Then it became, I wasn't here for anything, yo. I just came because her brother was gonna give me some speakers. It's not like I was chilling with her or anything still. Yeah. But what he didn't know is I had seen the way they touched. I had seen the look in her eye when the door opened and he was her surprise. I saw that she was just as in love with him as I was, because he had that effect on women. He had a way to make you feel like you were the only one. And it wasn't a great thing that he had to need a match. At that point, when you're young and you don't know better, the deal happens. I wish I could say that I held my dignity, that I simply was able to just walk away. But I can't say I did that. No, I didn't do that. I rushed him like a bat out of hell with intention and full outrage in my heart. My girlfriend had to drag me from that door, and my little one, she was rumbling and rolling and sensing that something was very wrong. I was imprinting on her. Years later, I know how that has come back. We don't not affect each other energetically. I imprinted on her. That's a story for another day. I did, on some level, recognize that they weren't worth it. He definitely wasn't worth it. I wasn't going to catch a case. At least not that time. Came to find out that they had been together for 2 years. 2 years before me, of loving and laughing, of video games, of joy, and of happiness, of carefree living and understanding of each other, because they've gone to the same schools and been in the same circles. Me, I was just that Catholic girl that was from down the street. We didn't grow up in the same neighborhoods. We had different understandings. We had been through different things. But he had pulled me definitely deep into his world. He lived out these 2 relationships between us, her, the around the way girl, his fun time girl, the one that he could just hang out with. And she understood that side of him, the urban bad boy business, because, she came from that. Me, I was just sugar and spice and all things in that. The right place to plant babies. I realized that jail just wasn't going to be a really good place for me to deliver my baby in. So I was like, let me just snap out of this. Let me let this go. I ain't going to jail for nobody. From that scene, with my head in my girlfriend's lap, bawling. My community man was so good at spinning tales. He was so good at wrapping you into his world. And when you have been beaten and battered down, when you have lost your sense of self, it is so easy to get even more involved. And especially when you are young and you were like me, who I believed I was bigger and badder and better than everybody else, that even though we were young, we could have this family. Because it was me, my arrogance, yeah, my sadness, yeah. He was a master liar, but even though he was that, he was an amazing lover. You don't know any better yet. And then you find out it wasn't even that good either. But that's for another story for another day. The truth of it was that I couldn't get away. Even though he would make love to me, he was still making love to her. The only difference was that he was putting babies in me. I was getting left with all the residual and all of the residual. I wish I could say she left him. I wish I could say that, she backed right off because she recognized we had a family and high stakes and that we wanted to make this work. And I wish that he had come home and been contrite and said, baby, I am so sorry. I need this to work out with you because you are the love of my life. Notice I said, I wish I could have said, because that's not what happened. She stayed and I stayed. And he got to bask in the glory of having his baby mother and his side piece and all the other pieces, because we weren't just the only ones. He was a busy boy, and that's the point. He was a boy. He couldn't stand in what it took to truly cultivate a relationship. We got caught up like we always did. And I also had one baby and the other one on the way. And like my grandmother had said to me just a couple months before, when I had asked her about why she had 11 children from a man who ended up having 16. Yeah. When I asked her, why did she stay? And she said, well, you get one, you get two. Where you going? Where you gonna go? Little did I know how true that was gonna be for me. The reality was the lie. That was the truth. We became allies in a sordid truth of togetherness. It was a heightening dysfunction of our tragedy of this relationship of too much love, too much tragedy, too much trauma, just too early for baby. It was just too much. And so the moral to the story is that there isn't one. This was only a beginning. There was no moral other than I taught him how to treat me. It was a beginning of learning that I would put up with a whole lot, because it wasn't the first time I caught him. It wasn't the last time I caught him. Stay tuned if you want to hear more about the community man.